Okay, everyone. Thank you again for joining us for today's webinar, Load Testing at Scale using Gatling and Taurus. My name is Jason Silverman. I'm just going to be making a few announcements first, and then I'm going to turn things over to Andrei Pohilko, who will be our presenter today. A few announcements before we begin. Firstly, this webinar is being recorded, and everybody who registered will be receiving the full recording via email, if not tomorrow, then definitely by the end of this week, assuming that everything goes okay, which it usually does. So keep an eye out for that. Secondly, there will be time for questions today at the end of the webinar. We'll leave about 10 minutes, ideally, for questions. That's the plan. We don't know if we'll have time for every single question. Some webinars get a lot of questions. So the best advice we can give is to keep the webinar questions on topic and relevant to this particular webinar and these questions. There's always an opportunity to ask questions separately. In addition, if your question is asked but we don't get to it, don't worry, we will see it and we'll try to, as much as possible, answer it via email in the coming days. Finally, at the end of the webinar, there will be a 30-second survey that we really encourage you to please fill out. It will allow you to give us your feedback about how the webinar went, whether you found it valuable, and how we can make them even more valuable in the future, as well as to request a follow-up session if you would like. So thank you very much. With that all said, I'm going to now turn things over to Andrei Pohilko. Andrei, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jason. Hi, everyone. I'm glad to have you on my webinar. And today we will be having slightly unusual topic. We will try to look out of JMeter sandbox and see what else do we have in space of performance and load testing tools, and how it all plays together and how it compares to our usual universe of JMeter. Why am I referring to JMeter is that everyone knows and understands that JMeter is a sort of industry standard of open source load testing tools. It's not the only thing, but it has the majority of the audience, and I will specifically address comparison of Gatling with JMeter in my talk, because it's important to refer to something that everyone knows and most of the audience knows. Our today's agenda is to introduce the Gatling tool for people who does not know much about it and want to know it, compare Gatling with JMeter, understand how it compares and what are specifics of each, introduce Taurus tool because it's important part of Gatling usage for us to enhance Gatling by using Taurus project. And we will have several live demos just to demonstrate how it all actually behaves and what will be your experience if you will go with these tools. And then we will go with Q&A section, and that's it. So introduction to Gatling tool. Gatling tool is cross-platform Java application. Its main purpose to do the load and performance tests. I never saw mentions that Gatling is used for functional tests. Might be the first difference from JMeter. JMeter says that it serves the functional testing. Gatling doesn't say that, so it's specifically built for load and performance testing. Key features of Gatling is that it has no GUI, it has no web UI, it has only command line tool style of usage. It uses Scala language for scripting. Scala is very much like Java, and the whole Gatling tool is built in Java language and it's ran on top of JVM. But Scala has some specific features for which differs it from Java. And Gatling ships the DSL for making HTTP requests, and there's also extensions to do other types of requests. So they have this DSL to ease the scripting and specification of the flow for your load test. And also Gatling generates post-test HTML reports. You can see it here on the right. This is the this is something colorful and rich, but it's only available after the test. Why people choose Gatling? Why somebody comes to use Gatling? First, people want to have the full power of programming language. Especially if you JMeter user, you know how much pain might it be to understand the flow and the program of JMeter because of that visualized UI and the component tree. So, and it's not very pleasant to incorporate the code pieces of freeform code into scripts of JMeter. This is why people come to Gatling, and if the amount of custom code in your JMX file and your script is a lot, if you're using some proprietary encryption functions, your own pieces of code, and if it's a lot of them, then it makes more sense to switch into programming language style. And it also brings typical way to include and use extra libraries. Again, if you're using some existing jar files which contain classes and instructions for your specific protocols, they all easy to use in Gatling code and in Scala Gatling files. Also, I should say that Gatling is really good with flexibility of load injection profiles. Out of the box, its capabilities are superior to JMeters. The only thing that can compare to Gatling is JMeter plus plugins. So if you will add specific plugins for JMeter, then it will compare to Gatling what it can do out of the box. And also Gatling uses asynchronous concurrency model, which means that it does not require a thread, an operating system thread for each virtual user. Instead, it uses asynchronous models when one thread can serve many virtual users and many connections. It leads to slightly lower resource usage, probably. I can't say that this is the critical and crucial difference, but some people really want to have this because some people want to generate many virtual users from single machine, and asynchronous concurrency helps with that. Let's see how we use basic Gatling scripts. I prepared something that I took from their website. This is the Gatling script in Scala. The main parts of it are package declaration, which is optional. Set of imports, we need to reference the Gatling DSL instructions for our Scala script. Then we declare the simulation file, and simulation is one of the key things. It specifies the test execution, how we do it. Then we have the actual configuration for the protocol, our HTTP target with some headers. This is our protocol definition, which we will use later. And then the scenario flow itself. Scenario is the sequence of steps to perform which represent the virtual user behavior. And then we use we use scenario, we specify the injection profile, the load profile, and we specify which protocol to use. We already configured HTTP conf here. This is the basic style of usage for Gatling. Now the command line. Let's see. Yeah. this is the command line to use Gatling tool. I have some place where it is being installed. I have it. It's really easy to install Gatling. Just grab the zip file and unpack it. And there is simulation folder parameter, which in my case will be current directory. And -m means to be a little more silent, but we can just omit that. It takes few seconds for Gatling to start, and then if I have several simulations declared in the same directory, it will ask me which one to pick. My simulation that I was working with was basic simulation, so let's answer 0. Yes. Basic simulation, no. 0. Okay, this is why I used -m option. It asks many questions, and now it runs. It ran my test, and the test specifies just single iteration, so it's really fast. But this is sort of first smoke test for my simulation file. It gives me some basic numbers, and also it gives me the hyperlink to my HTML report, which now I can open in web browser to, I'm sorry. Let's copy and let's paste. Yeah, this is the report of Gatling tool.